working? Is it working? Yes, it's working. Okay. I accidentally hit the wrong button and shut down everything, so now I gotta.
Awesome.
That's okay. So.
Two videos on there.
Okay. Flip it over. All right. Popped up on top of it. Two videos.
There's one that says Kaleo promo video.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first one, and then the Barkley College something or other. That's also listed.
All right.
Cool.
All right. Let's put that
Thank
back.
you, sir.
All right. Here you go. Thank you. All right. I'm sorry. Oh, why? Oh, they did it again. Sounds. Okay, and then so fade. Now.
Knock, knock. Old lady. I didn't know y'all could yodel. Got one more for you. What do you call a pig that does karate? Pork chops. Good morning and welcome. Thank you all for joining us today. Just a quick item of business. Even if y'all were here yesterday, if you could please sign in on the sign-in sheet out in the lobby at some point before the end of the day today, that would be great. We greatly appreciate it. And I don't really feel like there's any major housekeeping issues. We do have a box lunch that we will be handing out today at lunch, so you just keep in mind of that. And then the last that I haven't heard any different, that our men's group will be providing us a cookout this evening for supper. So I hope you all can join us for that. And at this point, I'm going to hand it back over to Brenda.
I would just like to recognize this young lady as chair of our program committee, who has done a fantastic job getting us ready for this.
Hostess, indeed. She and Jan Doe. Jan won't come up here because she's shy like that, okay? Just talk to her one-on-one, not
That's right.
before the group, okay? But Jan, she's, I told you yesterday, these two girls definitely have the gift of hospitality. And David Milliken is also on the program committee. And again, we would like to have another person to help us out. It would be very nice, so thank you very much. Thank you. This was found in the parking lot, so if
If anybody's missing one of these, you might check your car later and let us know if you are. Okay, yay. Should have asked Roger first thing. I'll just leave it up here for you. Okay, since you're first on the agenda. No, actually, we got started off to a great start with our morning praise and our object lesson, which we won't forget about being good fruit. So thank you, Tommy, for that. That was wonderful. I do have some regrets. Am I not? I'm sorry, I should be closer. Oh, okay. Mike Folk got a call or text from Ray Luther, and there's been a death in the family, his niece, and so he won't be here today. So please remember Ray and his family today. We also have regrets from Wade Craven, who had planned to be here, and he sincerely regrets not being able to do so. And I mentioned Billy and Viola yesterday and Jan Green. We would like to do the roll call again because I know that there are people here today who were not able to be here yesterday. So Mariana is going to come do the roll call. And again, please make sure you've signed the registration desk sheet because we keep that with the minutes.
I learned something from Geraldine several years ago, is to be forceful about getting those reports in. If you have not submitted your report to Paul and it's online or it has not been submitted to me, when you make your report today, please make sure that I get a copy of it either in hand or by email. Thank you. Our roll call this morning. We begin with Goldsboro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hood Swamp. Marmac Friends. Southern Quarterly Meeting, Archdale, Ashboro, okay, and he was here yesterday, I'll count him. Back Creek, Bethel, Cedar Square, Marlboro, Randleman, Science Hill, South Plainfield, Thomasville, Western Quarterly Meeting, Cane Creek, Center, Concord, Liberty, Rocky River, Yadkin Valley Quarterly Meeting, Brannan, Connection, Deep Creek, Forbush, Hunting Creek, Kernersville, Mountain View, Pilot Mountain, White Plains, Winthrop,
Yes. Oh, okay, thank you. Judy Ritter also sent regrets, thank you. Roger Holt will now come and present our Administrative Oversight Committee report. While he's coming to the podium, I'd just like to say the statistical reports are due September 1st. We need those in order to complete our budget. And I would like to brag on Contentia Quarter, everyone in Contentia Quarter has turned in their statistical report. Western Quarterly Meeting, everyone has turned that report in but one. And Southern and Yadkin Valley need to work a little better because you've only turned in about 50%. But you do have until September 1st, but it's very important that those be sent in. And I'm also very happy we added a new position on the form this year. We asked for a communication technology contact, and everyone listed someone. So on behalf of the Comtech Committee, thank you very much.
Good morning. Let me put this in my pocket before I lose it again. Before I start the administrative oversight report, I have a couple of announcements. The first is from NCYM Inc., NCYM Funds, LLC. There are actually two of those. The NCYM Inc. 2021 annual meeting will be Saturday, November the 6th, 2021 at Quaker Lake Camp. This is the time that annually Friends Church of North Carolina Fellowship of Friends, Quaker Lake Camp, North Carolina Friends Disaster Service, NCYM Funds, LLC, and NCYM Inc. review their work and distribution and expenditure of trust fund income for the prior calendar year. The review is focused on assuring that the expenditure of trust fund income is consistent with donor covenants or wishes. The review also includes a sharing of any issues or recommendations from our auditing firm relative to all these entities for the prior calendar year. Following the November 6th annual meeting, the PowerPoint presentations for each of these entities will be posted on the Fcnc and the NCFF websites. So that's November the 6th for the annual meeting. The second is December the 31st, 2022 marks the end of the initial 5-year terms of the trustees of trust funds following the reorganization of NCYM effective January 1st, 2018. While the trustees form a self-perpetuating board with a requirement to have at least one trustee from NCFF and Fcnc, they are requesting your input regarding members of either yearly meeting that have the skill set to contribute meaningfully to the work of the NCYM Funds Board. This would include individuals who do their own investing, provide active oversight of their investment manager, or are engaged in the investing industry. Your suggestions for possible candidates are essential as the trustees of trust funds prepare for establishing the rotation of trustees beginning January the 1st, 2023. Please share any names with Judith Cranford at NCYM Inc. office. So if you have folks in your meetings that could meaningfully contribute to that work, let's get their names to Judith. I wanted to call your attention to the offering bowls out on the registration desk. One is for Jamaica Ministries and the other is for Quaker Lake Camp. I want to encourage you to give to both of those during our time here this weekend. I'm here as the chair of the Administrative Oversight Committee to catch you up on what we've been doing this year. This past year has been challenging for us all, as individuals, as monthly meetings, as quarterly meetings, and as Fcnc, representing all 29 member meetings. We have been challenged. Changes in the way we meet with one another that were put in place early in the pandemic required constant attention as progress with vaccination numbers and new cases were reported. New variants of the COVID-19 virus have emerged this summer, and just as we were about to return to normal, a new wave of concerns engulf us. We, your representatives of the AOC, have heard your concern that better communication is needed between Fcnc and member meetings and between the meetings themselves. To that end, we are asking that each member take the time to list their names, telephone numbers, and email addresses so that information from Fcnc about activities taking place within the yearly meeting and in the member meetings can be sent out to all who decide to be contacted. This request has been sent to the clerk of your meetings along with a form to collect the information. So if you have not heard from your clerk, if you have not had the opportunity to list your information, when you go back home, ask them, because they've gotten it and we need it. This is going to be kind of a constant contact sort of situation, so that anytime anything comes across the radar at Fcnc, it'll be sent out to the membership. Won't be any gatekeepers, won't be anybody that has to redistribute it. Comes straight to you, and hopefully this will help in our efforts to communicate one with the other. Yes.
I send in members and attendees. Is that okay?
Sure. Sure. Anybody that wants any of this contact, anybody that wants any of this information is welcome to it. AOC has worked with the Faith and Practice Committee on some revisions to move committee structures, makeup, and rules to the administrative handbook. We feel that the changes will help us restructure committees as needed to facilitate their work, while leaving the purpose and duties of the committees in Faith and Practice. We have approved the changes that were presented by the Faith and Practice Committee back in April for your approval. I'd like to ask David Briles of the Faith and Practice Committee to come up at this time to answer any questions that you have and pertinent to these changes.
Thank you, Roger. Couple of quick announcements. As of yesterday evening, we had collected $70 for Jamaica, $240 for Quaker Lake. I haven't checked the offering yet this morning, but thank you for your contributions. Secondly, we still have a few copies of the directory out there. There's one per meeting. If you're here and no one from your meeting has picked up a copy, please get it and take it back. Also, there's several corrections that I'm sure that need to be made. If you would email me, I'm David Briles. My email address is in the directory, and we will get those once I'm sure there's going to be ongoing changes, but in a month or two I plan to mail out a new copy of the sheets. About a year ago, we kept hearing from members of the nominating committee and others that our committee structure needed to be adjusted. They appointed a committee, Roger Holt, Brenda McKinney, Judy Ritter, and myself, to recommend changes. And we went over those changes at representative body in April and asked that you go back to your meeting and seek approval. And that's what we're here to do this morning. I wanted to know if there's any questions. We did not change anything about our beliefs or the queries or anything like that. We just looked at pages 57 through 60 in the new faith and practice. The goal was to be consistent across our administrative handbook, our faith and practice, and our articles of incorporation that are filed with the Secretary of State. So at this time, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to try to answer them. Okay, if there are no questions, I guess I give to Brenda to seek approval.
Thank you. And I have received letters from some meetings, and they brought it to their monthly meeting and approved and sent me those letters. So at this time, do friends approve of the changes that are made to faith and practice related to committee structure, not the purpose or the duties? Do friends approve? Thank you very much.
Along with the Administrative Oversight Committee report in your folder, there's also a letter that's, the top of it says 2022 350th anniversary of Quakerism in North Carolina from Don Farlow. And he's reminding us that 350 years ago, the first voice of a religious nature on record in North Carolina was that of a Quaker. William Edmonston was recorded as having had a service in May of 1672, 350 years ago. And Don reminds us that this is a significant anniversary and suggests that we plan something special in acknowledging the beginning of Quakers as a voice in the religious life of the state of North Carolina. AOC would like to form a committee of interested members to plan this observance. And if I have any volunteers from the floor, we'll surely take those at this time. Is there anybody that's a history buff that would like to serve on this committee to plan an observance? David Milliken. Thank you, David. Anyone else? Sure. Yeah, anybody that needs to contemplate it a little bit and let us know. You can contact me. My email is in the directory. It's correct, David. So no problem there. So you can just let me know. But yeah, we would like a committee to think about this, to meet and to plan. I don't think we're expecting a huge event, but it certainly could be something that be incorporated with our annual sessions and mark this event, this anniversary. Okay. A renewal of our highly successful intern program has been discussed and approved by the AOC. If you have input or candidates for this program, please contact me or Brenda McKinney with your information. As we were discussing this and thinking back over the people that have been through this intern program, many of them have gone on into meaningful service, either into ministry in some form or has gone back as leaders in their meetings, and we felt like we needed to revive this. We need to re-engage our young people, and this is one way we could do that. David has already spoken to the directory, and if you would, as individual meetings, just go through and make all the inevitable corrections and get them back to him, then we'll have a nice solid directory that we can all use. Okay.
Any questions of Roger? Do you approve of the AOC report? Okay. As Tommy is coming forward, if you read Don Farlow's letter, he tells us that at one point, for 1 year of the celebration, I don't remember offhand which one it was, but all the Quaker meetings got together. So it's been suggested that possibly next year at annual session that the North Carolina Fellowship of Friends might come for a worship service that we could share, not even the whole annual session, that we'd have our own business meeting here. Maybe they could meet in the old lodge, and our worship speaker would be shared between the two of us, and even invite North Carolina Yearly Meeting Conservative. So that's just one comment that we have received. So maybe you don't want to serve on the committee, but you have a suggestion or an idea or an opinion, you can share that as well, please. Tommy's here representing the Ministers Association.
Well, good morning. So I represent the Fcnc Ministers Association. It's something that over the last couple of years has maybe gone a little quiet, and it's just by the nature of things and COVID and all that sort of thing. So this past February, we met at Fort Caswell and had a pastor's retreat that was soul-shaking, I guess is the best way of putting that. If your pastor was there, you need to ask them about it. We had an awesome prayer service and open worship and just a time of testimony, and we had a great speaker to talk about discipleship and that sort of thing. And I'm not here giving so much as a formal report as it is just keeping you in the loop as to what we're going to be doing, and I need your help. So we're looking at trying to set up some continuing education for our pastors and retired pastors as well. So part of that is getting speakers or topics and that sort of thing. So our officers will be meeting next week to look at maybe, I'm going to propose an October meeting to discuss clergy taxes and how clergy are to, if there's any challenges they may have with their tax situation. And also potentially invite the church treasurer, because there may be some things that our treasurers may not be aware of, and how to do W-2s and that sort of thing. So we're going to be discussing things like that, and at some point maybe later on have a mental health counselor come and speak to us about signs and symptoms to see in our congregation, and then maybe have someone from social services to come talk about our duty to report, what the law says that pastors and church leaders have to do. And so those types of things to keep us kind of on our game. But we may need your help. I sent a letter to most every meeting. Hopefully you got it. I did get some back that their address on the website's incorrect. They had P.O. boxes instead of street addresses. So that may be something we want to check on the address, the mailing addresses versus street addresses. But we may be asking to come to your meeting and ask you to provide a meeting space, or provide maybe an option for a lunch or a meal for our pastors. And then also maybe during Pastors Appreciation Month, I may send out some encouraging ideas to you as you're meeting to lift up your pastor at the Pastor Appreciation Month and all the work that they're doing for your meetings. So we are starting to get the ball rolling. We're starting to gain some traction, and hopefully come back strong and encourage and love on our pastors some. So are there any questions about the Ministers Association? There is a membership due. I'll be sending out that information coming out. I do encourage meetings to pay for their pastor. Retired pastors will be free, excuse me, as it has been in the past. But if you have an active pastor, I encourage you, if you could, to cover that for them, and that helps with trips and that sort of thing. And we will also be calling on the Vocations Fund, as it was mentioned yesterday, to help pay for some of this education that we want to provide. Any questions about that? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Paul, are you ready to do? Okay. When he mentioned COVID, it reminded me, I neglected to say that we are under a mask mandate in Guilford County. I know we're a religious organization, we're exempt, but we are using Quaker Lake Camp and Conference Center, and we want to make sure that there are no problems with the accreditation of the camp by using this facility. So if you would please adhere to the mask mandate while in the building, we'd appreciate it. Thank you. And now Paul Ruth will be reporting for Young Friends activities.
Well, as you can see, oh no, it didn't come up. Our next event is this November. We have not had an event since COVID started. We had an event, as I've probably reported so many times before, right before we shut down everything in the state. So that first weekend of March, we had an event, and then the very next weekend, we've all been quarantined. So this is our next event. We're pushing it hard. We're theming it Reignite because we want to reignite our youth and get their energy back. They got a chance to come to camp this summer after missing the summer and stuff, so we want them to be there. And if you see any of these people ever, Ethan Gardner, Evan Walden, Terry Linthcomb, Beulah Gullion, Jenny and Brian Gullion, Sterling Brown, Jared Warden, Cal Widlicka, and Trevor Collins, those are our youth leaders that are coming to help plan these events. They're the ones bringing our youth. And if I did not say their names right, I'm sorry. Trevor is new. I haven't even had a chance to meet him yet. Jared, he was one of Jared's youth, and he's now encouraged to become, he encouraged, whatever, he got him to be a youth leader. So that's about it for the Young Friends. We really don't have a lot to report. We haven't really done a lot. I mean, you know. Our young adult program, I'm going to let that be turned over to Friends Campus Ministry because they're going to report on it because CE kind of reports on it and the Young Friends.
Yes.
So, anyway, any questions? Here, right here at Quaker Lake. We're going to have it at Quaker Lake. Look for the promo. It'll be coming out. We have a meeting in next week or 2 weeks, something like that. So we have a meeting this month, and we will be working on promo and getting that out. So, all right.
Very good. Thank you, Paul. Jimmy, do you have anything to report from finance, or do you want to go ahead and do the communications technology while you're up here? Great.
Good morning. I don't know if you can hear me or not. I'll give two quick reports. I'll start with the finance and the stewardship. Hopefully in your packet you can find David's report here that has the treasurer's report. And I admit I haven't really studied it in detail. Looking at it, it says we've collected 105,000 of our askings, almost 70% year to date. And it's not on here, but Judith provided me an update as well. Through July, our expenses have been 131,000. Our income has been 145,000. So I think that's similar to what we had last year. When we don't have as many programs, some of our expenses are a little bit lower, but that's probably partly also due to timing. David, do you have anything that you want to add as far as the treasurer's report? Okay, thank you. I admit I stole the concept from John Porter. He didn't want me talking much about finances at annual sessions, so I've always tried to keep finances fairly brief. I do want to mention one other thing. This is our second year of doing the sponsorship concept, and I wanted to report we have collected $7,000. I think we actually budgeted $19,000 of sponsorship, so we still have room. So if you are so inclined, please see me, email me, call me. Would love to have your help on the sponsorship. And I wrote this down, but I'm not sure I got the right date. I'm hoping Brenda can help me. Is September 18th?
Yes,
Budget Day?
it's on the agenda.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So, Budget Day, September 18th. Any questions about finance that I can answer? Yes.
Yes, I got a question about the, I guess, treasurer's report, and I have a question for you, Andy or David. At the bottom are asterisks, 1 is paid to full, 2 is paid in full, and then 1 is forgiven for 2021. Who is that, and what does that mean?
That's for Thomasville. Thomasville.
Just Thomasville?
Yes, just that 1 year, in order to help them kind of get started again. They were having difficulties. Go to the microphone. Maybe I should answer that.
Go ahead.
It's referring to Thomasville. They were having financial problems, unable to pay the pastor, and so we were trying to make life a little better for them by forgiving their askings for 1 year, 1 year only, so.
Thanks, Brenda. Other questions about finances? If not, I'll switch gears and go into Comtech. In your packet, I'm hoping that you have this letter, and Roger was kind of referring to our new communications idea. So if you can, if you have a moment, look through your packets. There's a page announcing our new e-newsletter concept that Roger kind of mentioned earlier. And I just kind of want to briefly introduce this topic, and we're certainly interested in your feedback. But the idea is to improve communication among our member meetings. And one of the things that, there's several things that we're hoping to capture in this e-newsletter. Upcoming activities, especially Fcnc events. And I was very happy to hear that each meeting, I think now has at least a designated person as a social media coordinator. So if you've got upcoming activities, announcements, especially Fcnc announcements, that there will be other things in this newsletter, kind of what we believe. We're going to rotate some of those concepts. I think we have a lot of them on the website, but we thought, you know what, maybe we could do a newsletter to promote those as well. There'll be some social media tips, some of the missions and activities that we support, and of course there'll hopefully be some recent activities once we have new events. Now that maybe I know COVID has kept us very limited, and I know there's concerns, but as we have more events, we'll have pictures and photos to share. And this is a new concept, so it's still evolving a little bit. But our idea, our concept was to have the social media coordinators and the committee chairpeople gather content and pass that to Jenny Gullion on a monthly basis. We haven't really established what the right cadence might be. Our initial thought process is monthly, but we wanted to improve that communication. So if you're aware of events, coordinate with your social media coordinator at your meeting, or if you're a chairperson, you can coordinate through that chairperson committee and get us those events, those pictures, and we're hoping to start that newsletter very shortly. I know that's kind of a new concept, and if I can just take a brief moment, does anybody have any questions about that? I may have butchered that introduction.
There is a computer in the back with a spreadsheet where you can put in your name and information to sign up for this newsletter.
Okay, yes. If you haven't signed up on one of the email spreadsheets and you want to actively opt in, please sign up in the back. Is that all just set up, just looking for email addresses, Paul?
They can add their address at the end, but I just did email address because that's kind of what we were doing the newsletter for.
Okay. Was there another question? Did I see another question? Yes, that's the sheet that I was hoping that everybody could take a brief look at. And yes, please sign up if you haven't already done that. In a moment, I was going to ask Paul to just give a brief tour of their website, but before we do that, I did want to also mention we've got a couple of workshops this afternoon. I'm sure that's in the schedule. I haven't looked at the schedule. Those are all this afternoon, right? Jenny Gullion, our social media coordinator, will be leading a couple of workshops about how your meeting can benefit from social media. So I'm hoping and encouraging that many people will attend Jenny's workshops. And if you haven't thought about this, please pray about this. You can invite Jenny to come to your meeting. She's only been to a couple meetings, and I realize that under these circumstances, we haven't been doing as many activities, but if you're willing, Jenny will come to your meeting and talk about the benefits of social media at your meeting, and she most of the time sings, so that's another huge benefit you could get from inviting Jenny to come to your meeting. Paul, I didn't know if you could bring up the website, and I think we did this at annual sessions last year, but we've been asked to give an encore presentation of some of the changes that we've made to the website. And some of you may or may not know some of the improvements. The ComTech committee has worked really hard to try to improve our website. And Paul, I didn't know if you could just kind of briefly walk them through how to navigate some basic functionality on the website. We haven't really coordinated this, I apologize.
Okay. So this is still the standard main page. We've added where our current event is. It'll pop up right underneath the welcome, so it's a shortcut instead of having to go up here and go to events. But that's the other way to get to other events, like if you know there's other events around. And if you keep scrolling down, it'll give you a map of our meetings, which you can zoom out or zoom in, and then you can click on one of them if you know one in an area you want to find. Under our Connect, you don't have to click on Connect. You can just highlight it and see it pops up. But if you click on one of these top buttons and you go, oh no, what did I do? It's usually just a shortened version of the main things in there. But if you just highlight, some people don't realize they can just hold the mouse without clicking. You can find other things, like there's a beach registration for young adults, stuff like that. Same thing with our resources. We have a bunch of resources, and in our business area, or pastoral resources, the business is where you found the reports for today. But in our pastoral resources, we added in, there it is. You can get to it two different ways if it won't behave. And you can go through here, and there was a gathering that Tommy talked about. Well, thankfully, the speaker sat there and did his own recording of all the events. So if you missed it, if you're a pastor and you missed it, or you're a spouse and you want to know what your spouse was doing, you can go there and go to his page, and he will have all the stuff there. Actually, this is not our site because this is his site now. But I'm going to close that and go back to our site. Anytime you need to find anything, it's usually pretty easy to get to. We have a contact page also where you can message us up here, just direct message us, or you can sign up for our subscription on our same thing that we have in the back. There's several ways to sign up for our newsletter. Where else would you like to go, Jimmy? Because I'm not really sure.
While we're maybe pondering questions, maybe give them a brief tour of the ComTech page, the landing page on that.
Should be under our business section. Social media and IT. So you have to go to, it's actually not a shortcut here. Oh, I have to add that. But if you go to business and go to social media IT, we have some of our training pages, one of our videos that Jenny shot that we put up. The training page, for those of you that have got now a ComTech person or social media person at your meeting and they are overwhelmed go to this training page, and you will see all the Sarah Best videos and all her PowerPoints and all her documents are all in here in perfect order all the way down. And it's, each video is at least an hour or more. So she tried to keep them down at an hour, but we had a lot of questions, so she had to go over a little bit on some of them. But there, like I said, there's 9. So there's plenty of information for them to start. It's a good grounding to start off with, because some of the questions Jenny gets are answered perfectly in these videos, better than we can make up and try to catch up to you. This will catch you up faster than we can.
And I guess 2 other things I was going to mention, there's an Fcnc Facebook page, and we also now have a YouTube channel. I didn't know if...
Right, and anybody that's online is on the YouTube channel. That's what we're broadcasting from today. And then we have is it Twitter or Instagram? Does any?
We have Instagram.
Instagram, okay. So we can go to Facebook and go to we have 2 different pages. We have a page and a group. And so the Friends Church of North Carolina, right here on my page, I've got it as one of my quick shortcuts on Facebook. It is the group, and it says public group at the top when anybody visits. And it'll even have what's about over here, that it is a group. This is for you to actually come here, and some of you have done it. I've seen Missions put up that recently. Of course, I've posted that so people could find us today. We have planned posts on there, as well as for you to post your meeting's event. Goldsboro posted an obituary because they thought everybody needed to know. Stuff like that. But here's a VBS. And so, you know, this is the stuff where you get to communicate with one another at a central location. We're saving our page for posts just from us, the actual organization Fcnc. So the group is for you to post to let others know about your barbecue, your chicken stew, whatever you got going on, as well as your VBS programs or a revival you're doing, stuff like that. So please go to the group, add yourself, you know, anything you can do there. That is a good place to add that in. The other one, which is our page, which you should add yourself there too, is got the little logo that is similar to this logo right here. That's the bigger version of it. But it has the logo, and it actually says that it is a page. Of course, it's given me the administrator access one, but it will say page on there. But you'll see the little logo here, stuff like that, and you'll be able to see important things that we try to remind people of, like this was a reminder to sign up for this event, stuff like that. We don't post on it as much as we do the group because we want you to feel connected to one another.
And if you haven't visited the YouTube page, visit that. I thought that was a great opportunity when we had the revival. I really enjoyed interacting and posting, just interacting some with people. Here again, I guess I had a little bit of cabin fever during the pandemic and hadn't seen folks, and the next best thing was interacting with folks online. So if you didn't attend the revival, and those videos are still out there, I thought we had some excellent speakers. So
you can search for it, and guess what? It's got the same logo. Whoops, that was not the right one. It's good to know there's friends in the Baptist church too. But look for our logo, and then you can click on it. You can subscribe to it, and that way it'll alert you anytime something's going on. Like right now we're live, so it shows we're live on this logo. And I have created playlists here so that you can watch them in order, whether it's mid-year, the revival, either one. And as we get more, I'm going to create a playlist after annual session's over, and then you can watch them from start to beginning. It'll just change the video. It'll start at Friday's afternoon, and then Friday evening, and then come this morning. And so it'll make it a lot easier for you than trying to find each video in order.
think that's what we had. Do we have questions, comments? That's all I have. Thanks,
Thank
Roy.
you, Jimmy. And I do have a list of those meetings who have sent me their email address list of their members. Some people even sent the directory to me. So I've received about a third of them. So if you would like to know whether your meeting has sent their list in, you can look at this. And now Beth Saunders will come and give us an update on Mexico. I mentioned yesterday that the chair of missions, Scott Carter, has submitted a report in your packet that details each of the missions the committee has sponsored and the work that they're doing. So I hope you have a chance to look at that. I neglected to ask approval for Jimmy's report from Finance and this Communications Technology Committee. Do you approve? Thank you. I don't know if everyone heard David's comment. David Briles is our treasurer, and he made the comment that our financial status was stable but not exemplary. Is that what you said? Spectacular. Our financial status is stable but not spectacular, so that was worth everybody hearing.
Good morning. I think Paula's going to help me pull up some pictures, but before that, are you talking about my volume? Thank you. But before that, I just want to mention, 150 years ago, a New York Quaker who was teaching at Back Creek, married to a North Carolina girl, was sent by some people in Indiana yearly meeting to Matamoros, Mexico. And that is when Friends started. 150 years ago this November. It's been, times of growth and times of challenge, but fast forward to today. So, if you don't mind scrolling down on their feed to not the videos, but a bunch of pictures that show Bible school. And they have a lot of video because they do Bible study about every day. There you go. There you go, if you want to just go through some of those pictures. So I'll mention their Bible school in a minute, but this is actually on an island. The Friends in Matamoros, who are in a very poor little village that a lot of us have visited, have their own mission ministry. They drive an hour outside the city, they take a boat, they load everything down, all the equipment, and they go minister to this little fishing village they call it Fantasy Island. And it's remote. I got to go there when we went in early 2020, and it takes a long time to get there. But you can see these kids are having a great time. And this was their Bible school program just about 2 weeks ago. Those are the helpers coming from Matamoros. there's a little meeting house that is shared by multiple churches. It says Church of the Nazarene on the front, and so they sort of take turns going out and minister to the people on the island. See if I can stop on a picture of Hilda. That's the pastor's husband there in a farm hat. Their theme for Bible study was farming, and the one that they did in Matamoros, they borrowed some farm animals to come visit. So that's Fernando. And that's Ilda. That's the pastor in the corner. So I'm going to keep talking. And Mike, if you see a picture of Ilda, will you let us know and we'll stop there for a minute? Thanks. Okay, so Pastor Ilda, spelled Hilda, has been there about 4.5 years now. And she and her husband Fernando have put so much life into this little meeting. She said that, I talked to her recently, and she said that in the beginning it was just sort of 1 or 2 families trickled back from, the meeting in the village was closed for a little while, and they trickled back, and then the children came. And this past year during the pandemic, of course, they couldn't meet in person. So they have been ministering to people through Facebook Live. They're back in person now, at least partly, but they do their Sunday services, they have women's Bible studies, they have men's Bible studies, they have children's meetings, and some people have found them through these Facebook Lives and come to the meeting. And then, of course, they have some people that watch that are here in America and, different places, and maybe they can't come. But so it's not a huge congregation, but you see how excited those volunteers were to go help others. And they had their own vacation Bible school in late July. They had a hamburger sale to help pay for all the things. They have, they borrowed the animals. They have like a pig piñata for the kids to hit and all the games and stuff. And I love how they do that ministry to another place. Instead of saying that they're in a poor village and everybody help us, they're like, how can we help? And they go out and help other people. So they regularly go to this island at least once every 2 months, and they take them clothes, food, and do a worship service. Sometimes they'll take a volunteer dentist out there. This time, during this vacation Bible school, they took a volunteer barber out there, and he gave the men of the village haircuts. So they asked for, when I talked to them, I said, what would you like for us to pray for? And they said that one of their requests was for strength, and I take that to mean stamina, because they just do so much. And it's not just the pastor and her husband. They have volunteers in the meeting, and you'll see them doing things and leading women's groups, helping with the children. I think that is a really good sign of growth when it's not just the pastors doing everything. So they asked for prayers for strength, and also that God would use the people there. Now, just to kind of transition a little bit, Friends in Coahuila, they're part of that yearly meeting that Matamoros is in Tamaulipas, that's the state, and then a couple states over. They're part of the yearly meeting that's in Coahuila. And we give a little funding for pastoral training and support for them to travel back and forth because they're 6 hours apart. They're a long ways apart for traveling. So Friends in Coahuila would like to let you, I asked if they needed anything, and they said they need a compact or mid-size car, if anybody has, you know, an older car that they would like to donate for their ministry purposes in Coahuila. We are trying to keep up our relationship. You know, they're part of that yearly meeting in Mexico, but we've been trying to keep up our relationship and visiting every year or two. And right now, depending on conditions, we plan to visit them again the weekend of December the 3rd this year. So if anybody has it in their heart that they would like to visit Mexico and see this wonderful active ministry and just support them, then please let us know. I don't know yet what the trip will cost, but I think that would be it's a good time for them. We've tried to coordinate with several different people, and I think that would be a good time to go. And clerk, please. Yes. I would like for us, in honor of 150 years of Friends in Mexico, to send a letter or epistle or something that we could share, not just with Madam Morris, but maybe take copies and they could share with other meetings in Mexico from Friends Church of North Carolina.
Yes. Beth and I talked about this yesterday, and we will prepare that letter or epistle. Rossi Hobson is going to help us translate it into Spanish, and we will get it approved in October at Rep Body, and she can take it, Beth can take it with her in December.
Thank you. I'd also just like to thank you for your support, not just for Mexico, but for other missions. For Mission Sunday, I don't have details, but I gather that our Mission Sunday this summer went very well. And I'd like to thank you for both the donors and the bidders on the silent auction. And just a quick announcement, the silent auction is going to end promptly at 5:30 this afternoon. But that doesn't mean rush up and take things and buy things right at 5:30, because we kind of have to get our papers organized and total things up. So just go on to supper, or if you are not staying for dinner tonight, then give us about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll get you checked out. And thanks again.
Thank you, Beth. We enjoy those pictures. It is 10:03. Let's take a break until 10:15. If you would come back promptly at 10:15, we'll get started with another report.